The courtroom was a tomb of silence, the kind that pressed against your chest and made every sound a rustling paper, a stifled cough feel like a gunshot. All eyes locked on the small figure in the witness box, a 7-year-old boy, his hands shaking as they clutched the wooden railing. His face was ghostly pale, his wide eyes flicking nervously across the room, taking in the stern faces, the polished benches, the weight of the moment. The judge, a woman with silver-streaked hair, leaned forward, her voice soft but steady. "Do you understand why you're here today, Liam?" The boy nodded, lips trembling, then slowly raised a tiny hand and pointed straight at the police officer in the front row. The officer's face froze, his jaw clenching as Liam's finger held firm, unwavering. "It's him," Liam whispered, voice barely a breath. "He's the one who hurt my mom." The room exploded. Gasps rippled through the crowd, and the officer lurched to his feet, his chair screeching across the floor. The judge's gavel crashed down, but the chaos was unstoppable. Every person in that courtroom sat on edge, hearts pounding, gripped by a single question. What could a child know that would drag a police officer into the dock? This wasn't just about a boy's accusation. It was about a secret so dark, so carefully buried, it threatened to tear apart the trust holding their small town together. In moments, Liam would say something that would silence the room, forcing everyone to rethink justice, loyalty, and the people they thought they knew. What could a child reveal to shake a seasoned officer to his core? And why did the officer's eyes betray a flicker of fear? Liam wasn't meant for this. He was just a kid, quiet and shy, who loved robots and spent afternoons building forts from couch cushions. His world was his mom, his scruffy dog, and their modest house on Cedar Lane. But everything shattered the night his mom didn't come home. Liam had waited, nose pressed to the window, until a police car's headlights cut through the dark. It wasn't his mom who stepped out, it was Officer Harper, the guy who'd always toss him a grin from his patrol car. That night, there was no grin, just a grim face and a story that felt wrong. "Your mom's been in an accident," Harper said, his voice too smooth, too practiced. "She's gone." But Liam noticed things. Harper's hands trembling, the bloodstains on his sleeve, and his mom's warning, whispered days before. "If anything happens to me, Liam, don't trust anyone, not even the police." Now, in the courtroom, Liam wasn't just a scared boy. He was the keeper of a truth, and he'd tell it, no matter how his voice quaked. It began with a drawing. A week after his mom's death, Liam's teacher noticed his artwork wasn't like the others. While classmates sketched sunsets and cartoon heroes, Liam's were jagged scribbles. A man in a police uniform, a woman crumpled on the ground, a car with headlights glaring like predatory eyes. When the teacher asked about it, Liam's eyes welled up. "That's Officer Harper," he sobbed. "He hurt my mom. He made her go away." The teacher reported it, and suddenly Liam was swept into a storm of lawyers, detectives, and courtrooms. The police department brushed it off as a grieving child's confusion, but Liam's grandmother, a steely woman with no patience for nonsense, wasn't convinced. She hired a relentless defense attorney, Clara Wade, who believed Liam and was ready to risk everything to prove it. The trial was a pressure cooker of doubt and disbelief. The prosecution painted Liam as a traumatized kid, lashing out at the nearest authority figure. But Clara had a different theory: a corrupt officer, a cover-up, and a secret that could ruin lives. As the trial unfolded, Liam's testimony became the heart of the case. He recounted the night his mom vanished with chilling clarity, but Clara knew a child's word wasn't enough. They needed proof. That's when Liam dropped the bombshell. "I have something," he said, voice shaky but resolute. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a crumpled gas station receipt, dated the night his mom disappeared. "My mom gave this to me," he said. "She told me if anything happened, I should give it to someone who could help." Scrawled on the back was a license plate number, Officer Harper's personal vehicle. The courtroom erupted again, but this time the air crackled with something new. Evidence, undeniable, pointing straight at the man sworn to serve. Proving the truth was a battle. The police department closed ranks, questioning Liam's credibility at every turn. Clara faced anonymous threats, and Liam's grandmother grew paranoid, checking locks twice nightly. Then, in a bold move, Officer Harper took the stand. He looked at Liam, his voice calm, almost paternal. "I didn't hurt your mom, son. I tried to save her. Sometimes bad things happen, and we can't explain why. For a fleeting moment, Liam wavered. Had he misjudged? Was Harper innocent? But his mom's words echoed, "Don't trust anyone." He held his ground. The trial's final day buzzed with electricity. Clara presented new evidence, grainy security footage from the gas station, showing Harper arguing with Liam's mom, Emily Carter, hours before her death. The receipt wasn't just paper, it was a breadcrumb to the truth. When Liam took the stand one last time, he didn't falter. He stared at Harper and said, "You hurt my mom, and I'm not scared of you anymore." The room fell so silent you could hear a pin drop. Clara turned to Harper, who'd been stoic throughout. "Officer Harper," she began, "why did you kill Emily Carter?" Harper's face twisted, a mix of rage and desperation. He broke. "She was going to ruin me," he spat, voice low but venomous. "She found out about the drug money I was taking to stay quiet. I was in too deep, and she threatened to expose me. I couldn't let that happen." The courtroom gasped, murmurs swelling. Clara pressed, "So you killed her to protect your secret?" Harper's eyes darted, landing on Liam. "I didn't mean to," he said, voice cracking. "It was an accident. We argued. She fell, but I panicked. I covered it up, thought I could make it go away." Liam's eyes brimmed with tears, but he didn't look away. "You're a liar," he said, voice steady. "You hurt her on purpose and made it look like an accident." The jury deliberated for hours, the weight of Liam's words, the footage, and Harper's confession heavy on their minds. When they returned, the courtroom was so quiet you could hear the wall clock's faint tick. The foreman stood, voice solemn. "We the jury find the defendant, Officer Nathan Harper, guilty of obstruction of justice and manslaughter in the death of Emily Carter." A collective gasp swept the room. Harper's face drained of color, his hands gripping the table like it was his last anchor. Liam sat still, his grandmother's arm around him, tears streaking her face. The judge nodded, expression grave. "Officer Harper, your badge once stood for trust. Today, it marks your betrayal. You're sentenced to 15 years in prison, no parole." The gavel fell. Liam felt a strange mix of relief and grief. Justice was served, but his mom was still gone. As he left the courtroom, he held his head higher. He'd done what he came to do, and somewhere, he hoped his mom was proud. The town would never be the same, forced to confront the rot beneath its surface. Liam, the boy who loved robots, had pointed a finger and brought down a lie, proving that even the smallest voice could speak louder than fear.